Good evening, Andrew Blotzer, February 23rd, 2025, FTH 212535556. The gun is disassembled, so there is nothing anywhere. No ammunition, not even the dummy rounds right now. There is your exploded view of my Smith & Wesson Shield MP9 because my FFL is been ignoring my text for 10 days now. Messaged you or emailed you. You said it's cool to use my personal carry. I'm going to do that. I'm going to get on his butt. I'll have that package tomorrow. Um, Disassembled. Okay, 6 randomly selected parts. Thank you, randomizer. Sear housing, striker, backplate, slide stop assembly, extractor, recoil spring. Starting with the sear housing. Nothing in there, nothing. So this one holds the sear, holds some springs. The sear actually gets um, tripped by the trigger, which then releases the striker. Shit. Sorry. Profanity. Sorry. Apologize. Releases the striker, which is under tension from the spring, shoots forward, hits the primer. Primer reacts. I messed up. It's cycle operations firing and cocking. The primer then ignites, causing a chain reaction, sliding the rear to the sliding the moving the slide to the rear. Long weekend, sorry. The rear under tension from the rear resets the sear and the striker under tension from the recoil spring starts moving forward, catches the next round. Um, it will put the next round into the chamber and lock the breech. So that hits your eject or recoil spring, which directly has no cycle of operations, but indirectly has for the feeding, chambering, and locking, which I just went over. The sear housing was my next one. The striker, which we just kind of went through. Also with that, the striker has all these little parts, boots, there's springs that also come with it. Spring there. Here's a little cap thing, but jigger. Don't know what it's actually called. Sorry. Um, the striker itself is part of the firing and cocking, and that also indirectly hits with feed, recoil, and locking. The back plate. It was the randomest thing that ever gave me. I Nothing. There's no spring that popped out. Nothing. I don't think it actually has a purpose except to keep dirt in. And you could buy new ones to make it look prettier. Useless. Um, the extractor we went over. We didn't go over the extractor. As the slide, after the primer is hit, the expansion of gases, the extractor catches the rim of the spent casing now, and as the slide pulls back, it starts to pull the casing towards the rear, which is extraction. It then starts to kick it out as the slide moves back and it ejects it. So that would be extraction and indirectly ejection. Where's my last one here? Slide stop assembly. No actual anything in the cycle of operations. This will interacts with the slide. So you slide it to the rear, pop that up, it'll lock it to the rear. From there you can slide down the breakdown bar. That's what it's actually called. I don't know. That's what I call it. You slide that down. You can remove the slide and start breaking everything down on it. Components, potential failures. Everything that I just talked about, minus the back plate, has springs in it. The springs can all go bad. The sear housing, the sear can get worn. That's another failure. If the sear has a bad spot on it, you're talking about early release of the striker or not catching it at all. If the metal on the extractor starts to get worn, you will not catch the casing. If the striker front pin, which could happen, I suppose, starts to get worn, it will not have enough to punch the primer. If the springs are too weak or an aftermarket gets put on that is crummy, it will not have enough oomph to punch the primer itself. I guess if your catch gets a pretty beefy catch, if your catch gets worn, it won't interact with the sear. Okay. Special tools. I tell you what, I took this whole thing down in about 20 minutes from top to bottom, minus the sights. I could not get these sights off to save my life. I took the bolt out, but I took it all out with punch pins. Punch pins. Neil knows this fancy little Temu screwdriver set, and I actually used the provided vice grip or vice block. That was pretty cool to punch the pins out, but that was it. And I think anything in this whole pistol could be replaced within 30 minutes. Obviously, or honestly. Again, I took down the entire thing in 30 minutes. If I'm specifically looking for one part to replace, easily that one part could be replaced in 30 minutes. I'm going to reassemble the firearm now.